Dear beloved, thank you for clicking on this video. The testimony you are about to listen to was sent in last week after going through it. I have decided to share it with you today. This is a testimony of a brother. He wants to share a testimony of what her grandma saw about the second coming of Jesus. She was told to warn as so many people that will listen to her. So I encourage you to watch this video to the end to fully understand his testimony. But before we continue, please let me know where you're listening from. It would be nice to feel closer, even if we're physically apart. Also, don't forget to like. It will help this video to reach so many people who need to listen to this testimony, and leave a comment. Share your thoughts about this near-death experience testimony. Let's have a fair and open discussion so we can learn from each other here on this channel, and don't forget to subscribe for more of this content coming your way. Enjoy listening. Hello everyone. My name is Eli, and I'm 24 years old. I work at a coffee shop, I play guitar on weekends, and I love basketball. I'm just a regular guy, really, but I'm making this video because I promised my grandma I would. And when you promise Grandma Cora something, you keep that promise. I'm not a preacher. I don't have a Bible degree or anything like that. I'm just someone who loves his grandma more than anything in the world. And she asked me to share something that happened to her. Something that changed both our lives forever. 3 months ago, if you had told me I'd be sitting here talking about visions and spiritual stuff, I would have laughed. I was the guy who scrolled through TikTok during church services when Grandma dragged me along. I was more worried about my next paycheck and whether my crush would text me back than anything else. But something happened that week in July. Something that made me see everything differently. And Grandma made me promise to tell people about it, especially young people like me. So here I am, keeping that promise. This isn't easy for me to share. People might think I'm crazy, or that Grandma was just having weird dreams because she's getting older. But I was there. I saw what happened to her. And after 3 months of thinking about it, praying about it, and trying to make sense of it all, I know I have to speak up. Let me tell you about my Grandma Cora first. She's 78 years old, but she moves around like she's 50. She still tends her garden every morning, makes the best cornbread you've ever tasted, and never misses her favorite TV shows. She's been the strongest person in our family ever since Grandpa died 5 years ago. I've been living with her since I graduated high school. My parents got divorced when I was 16, and honestly, Grandma's house felt more like home than anywhere else. She never made me feel like a burden. She'd always say, "Eli, this house is too quiet without you here." So when she told me she was going to fast and pray for 4 days straight, I was worried. Really worried. Grandma had never done anything like that before. She was always the practical one in our family. She prayed before meals and went to church every Sunday, but she wasn't what you'd call super religious. "Grandma, are you feeling okay?" I asked her that Monday morning. She was sitting at the kitchen table with her old Bible open, and she had this serious look on her face I'd never seen before. "I'm fine, baby," she said, patting my hand. "I just feel like God is calling me to pray about something important. Something I can't shake off." I didn't really understand what she meant, but I could see she was determined. So I became her water boy for the next 4 days. Every few hours, I'd bring her a glass of water and sit with her for a while. She spent most of her time in her bedroom, either praying or reading her Bible. Sometimes I'd hear her crying softly, but when I'd check on her, she'd just smile and say she was fine. By Wednesday night, I was getting scared. She looked so tired, and she'd barely eaten anything. But there was something else too. Something I couldn't put my finger on. She seemed different, more focused, like she was listening to something I couldn't hear. Thursday night was when everything changed. I woke up around 2 in the morning because I heard her talking. At first, I thought maybe she was on the phone with someone, but when I listened closer, I realized she was praying. but it wasn't like her usual prayers before meals. She was having a conversation like someone was actually talking back to her. I crept closer to her door, which was slightly open, and I could see her sitting on the edge of her bed. Her face was glowing. I know that sounds weird, but I swear there was this soft light around her, and she was smiling and nodding like she was talking to an old friend. I stood there for maybe 20 minutes just watching. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. Finally, I went back to my room, but I couldn't sleep. I just lay there thinking about what I'd seen, wondering if my grandma was okay or if something was seriously wrong with her. Friday morning, I woke up to the sound of Grandma crying. Not sad crying, it was different. It sounded almost like happy crying, if that makes sense. I jumped out of bed and ran to her room. She was sitting in her rocking chair by the window, tears streaming down her face, but she had the biggest smile I'd ever seen. When she saw me, she reached out her arms. "Eli, honey, come here. I need to tell you something." I sat on her bed facing her, and she took my hands in hers. They were shaking a little. "Grandma, what happened? Are you okay?" "Oh, baby, I'm more than okay. I saw something last night. Something beautiful and terrible at the same time." She wiped her eyes with a tissue. "I don't know if you'll believe me, but I have to tell someone, and I trust you more than anyone in this world. I'll be honest, my first thought was that she might be having some kind of breakdown from not eating. But looking into her eyes, they were clearer than I'd ever seen them. She wasn't confused or sick. She was more awake than anyone I'd ever met. "I'll believe you, Grandma. Tell me what you saw." She took a deep breath and started talking. For the next 2 hours, she told me about the most incredible thing I'd ever heard. She said she saw herself in this beautiful place, brighter than anything she could describe. There were people everywhere, more people than she could count, all wearing white clothes. There were these doves, Eli, hundreds of them, flying in perfect formation above everyone's heads. And in the distance, I could see 7 lamps burning so bright they lit up everything around them. She described seeing what she called the open gate, a massive doorway made of what looked like pearls and gold, with the most beautiful light streaming through it. But here's the part that really got to me. She said there were people standing outside the gate, carrying heavy bundles on their backs, looking confused and lost. They wanted to go through the gate, Eli, but they couldn't because of those bundles. Every time they tried to step forward, the weight would pull them back. "What was in the bundles, Grandma?" She was quiet for a moment, then looked at me with these incredibly sad eyes. All the things they thought were more important than being ready. Their worries, their anger, their love for money and things that don't last. Their pride, their fears, their old hurts they wouldn't let go of. The way she described it made my heart break. These people weren't bad people. They were just carrying too much stuff that was weighing them down. But then her expression changed, and she grabbed my hands tighter. "Eli, that's not the part that scared me. The part that scared me was realizing that the gate was about to close. Not because God wanted to keep people out, but because time was running out for people to get ready." Over the next few days, Grandma and I talked about her vision constantly. At first, I tried to understand it literally, like maybe she was seeing actual future events. But the more we talked, the more I realized it was deeper than that. "Grandma, what do you think the 7 lamps mean?" She pulled out her old Bible and showed me some verses about 7 churches. "I think each lamp represents a different problem in churches today, baby. But not just churches, problems in people's hearts." She explained it in a way that made sense to a guy like me. The first lamp, she said, represented people who used to be on fire for God but got tired and gave up. I immediately thought about my generation, how we get excited about things for a few weeks, then move on to something else. The second lamp was about people who got so caught up in making money and building their careers that they forgot about what really mattered. That hit me hard because I'd been obsessing over side hustles and trying to get rich quick. The third lamp broke my heart when she explained it. It was about people who looked good on the outside, like their Instagram posts and social media presence, but inside they were empty and fake. Living muddy lives while pretending to be clean is how she put it. Each lamp represented something that was keeping people from being ready for what was coming. And when she explained the open gate, I finally understood. It's not about a literal door, is it, Grandma? No, baby. It's about choices. Every day, we're making choices that either prepare us for eternity or weigh us down with things that don't matter. The bundles people were carrying, I could see them in my own life. My anxiety about the future, my anger at my parents for getting divorced, my jealousy when my friends seemed to be doing better than me, my addiction to social media and the way it made me feel worthless sometimes. Those bundles, Grandma said, they're not chains that God puts on us. They're chains we put on ourselves. And the beautiful thing is, we can choose to put them down anytime we want. A week after her vision, Grandma sat me down for the most serious conversation we'd ever had. Eli, I need you to promise me something, and I need you to really think about it before you answer. I could tell this was important, so I put my phone away and gave her my full attention. I want you to promise me that you'll share this story with other people, especially young people your age, not to scare them, but to help them understand that time isn't unlimited. But Grandma, people are going to think I'm crazy. They're going to think you're crazy. She smiled and shook her head. Baby, I've been thinking about that too. But then I realized something. If there was a fire in a building and you knew people were inside, would you worry about looking foolish when you shouted, "Fire"? That made sense to me, but I still had questions. Did God tell you when this is all going to happen? Like, is there a specific date? This is the part one really need everyone to understand, because I think a lot of people get confused about this. Grandma was very clear that she didn't see a calendar or get told a specific date. What I saw, she said, was more like seasons, like when you can feel fall coming even though it's still summer. There are signs that tell you change is coming. She explained that September, the month we were talking about this, felt significant in her vision, but not as an end date. More like a season of warning, like when weathermen tell you a storm is coming so you can get prepared. The message isn't you have until this date, she said. The message is, don't wait until tomorrow to get right with God, because tomorrow isn't promised. That's when she made me promise to share her story, not as a prediction about the end of the world, but as a wake-up call for people like me who were sleepwalking through life. Promise me, Eli. Promise me you'll tell them that God's patience isn't unlimited, but His love is, and that He's giving people every chance to get ready. Promised. And that's why I'm here, 3 months later, keeping my word. I'll be real with you. I didn't believe Grandma at first. Not completely. I mean, I believed that she experienced something, but I thought maybe it was just her mind playing tricks on her because she hadn't eaten in 4 days. But then I started paying attention to her differently. The peace in her eyes was something I'd never seen before. She stopped worrying about little things that used to stress her out. She started giving away stuff she'd been holding on to for years. And she began talking to people about God in a way that didn't feel pushy or weird. It just felt natural. Grandma, you're different since that night. Like, really different. I am different, baby. When you see where we're all heading, it changes how you think about everything here. I started reading her Bible with her, which was something I'd never done before. And slowly, things started making sense. Not all at once, but piece by piece. The biggest change in my thinking came when I realized this wasn't about being scared. It was about being hopeful. Grandma wasn't afraid of what she'd seen. She was excited about it. Eli, what I saw was the most beautiful thing imaginable. But it broke my heart to see people missing out because they were carrying too much junk. That's when it hit me. This wasn't a scary story about Judgment Day. This was a love story about God giving people every possible chance to be ready for something amazing. I started looking at my own life differently. All the stuff I was stressed about, my job, my relationships, my future, none of it seemed as important as making sure I was ready for whatever was coming. And you know what? When I started letting go of some of those worries and focusing more on what really mattered, my life actually got better. Not perfect, but better. So here's the thing, after 3 months of thinking about Grandma's vision and what it means, I think I understand what we're supposed to do with this information. We're not supposed to quit our jobs and stand on street corners with signs saying, "The end is near." That's not what this is about. We're supposed to wake up and stop living like we have unlimited time to get our hearts right. For me, that meant some practical changes. I stopped spending so much time on social media because it was making me jealous and angry. I started being more honest with people instead of trying to look perfect all the time. I began helping Grandma with church activities, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Most importantly, I started praying. Real praying. Not just the quick "God help me with this test" prayers I used to do. I started having actual conversations with God, like Grandma taught me. The bundles people were carrying in your vision. I asked her one day, "How do we put them down?" "One at a time, baby. You don't have to do it all at once. Just start with the heaviest one." For me, the heaviest bundle was my anger at my parents. I'd been carrying that anger for years, and it was making me bitter and suspicious of everyone. So I started there. I called my dad and had a real conversation with him for the first time in 2 years. I didn't fix everything, but I started the process. Then I worked on my anxiety about money. Instead of constantly worrying about not having enough, I started being grateful for what I had and trusting that God would take care of me. Each bundle I put down made me feel lighter and freer. And the closer I got to being ready, the more excited I got about whatever God has planned. It's been 3 months since Grandma had her vision, and I've kept my promise to share her story. But now I realize something important. This isn't just her message anymore. It's become my message too. I'm not asking you to believe everything I've told you. I'm not asking you to change your whole life overnight. I'm just asking you to consider the possibility that time might be shorter than we think, and that maybe it's worth taking a look at what you're carrying around that might be weighing you down. If you're like I was, stressed about money, angry about things you can't change, addicted to social media, feeling empty inside even when everything looks good on the outside, maybe it's time to start putting some of those bundles down. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm still working on it myself. But I can tell you that every step toward being ready has made my life better, not worse. Grandma Cora is still with us, and she's still praying for everyone who hears this story. She's not afraid of what's coming. She's excited about it. And she wants everyone to be excited about it too. The gate is still open, and there's still time to get ready. But time isn't unlimited. And that's not a threat. It's just the truth. So what are you going to do about it? That's the question I had to answer 3 months ago, and it's the question I'm asking you now. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't carry those heavy bundles one more day. Put them down, step toward the light, and get ready for the most beautiful thing you've ever imagined. Thank you for listening. If you have been blessed, please like this video. It will help YouTube to show it to more audience who need to hear about these testimonies today. Also share this video to your loved ones. It will be a great way to communicate Christ to others, and that will be the greatest gift you can give to those that you love. If you have any testimony you would want us to share to our audience and you feel that it will bless the body of Christ, you can leave a comment in the comment section. We will attend to it as soon as we receive it. If you are yet to subscribe to our channel, please do so. It's free and it's a way of joining this great community of believers. Join us today and your life will not remain the same. Until next time, remain blessed.